Namaste, Dandavat Pranam. By the instruction and grace of our spiritual master, Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Shripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj, we are here reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We are also paying our humble Dandavat Pranam to Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada for providing us this wonderful commentary and translation of Bhagavatam. Following the guidance of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, we are also praying to Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati has told us that unless we can understand something about Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī, then we have wasted our time. Our study has been for nothing in Bhagavatam. Yadi sevā-vañcitāḥ yasyāḥ kṛpayā vayaṃ labhema Sarvaṃ prāpnumaḥ prayojanaṃ dhāmni śrī-bhagavat pade Kṛṣṇa-sambandhi sarvaṃ cha Yadi na jānīmahe tutam Aṣṭādaśasu sahasreṣu ślokānāṃ bhāgavat-oktiṣu Rādhārānīṃ na vindāmaḥ nishphalam bhagavat yayinam Radhikaya kripam vina vyartasyat sarva-pariśramaḥ. If we are cheated out of serving that personality whose mercy awards us everything we need, including residence in the Lord's holy Dham, and all things connected to Krishna, and if we cannot understand or discover Rādhārānī within the 18,000 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, then our study of Srimad Bhagavatam has been pointless. Without the mercy of Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī, all of our efforts are in vain. So we are continuing today from Canto 5, the creative impetus. Chapter 6, the activities of Lord Ṛṣabhadeva. Text 7. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tasyahavam evam mukta lingasya bhagavat Ṛṣabhasya yoga maya vashanaya deha imam jagatim abhimanvasena sankramana konka venka kutakan dakshina karnatakan deshan yadricha yoga yopagata kutakachalo pavanasya kritasma kavala unmada eva mukta mordhajo samvita eva vichachara. Actually, Lord Ṛṣabhadeva had no material body, but due to Yoga Maya, he considered his body material, and therefore, because he played like an ordinary human being, he gave up the mentality of identifying with it. Following this principle, he began to wander all over the world. While traveling, he came to the province of Karnataka in South India, and passed through Kanka, Venka, and Kutaka. He had no plan to travel this way, but he arrived near Kutakachala and entered a forest there. He placed stones within his mouth and began to wander through the forest naked and with his hair disheveled like a madman. Text 8. Atasamira vegavituta venu vikarashana jatogra dan davanalastad vanam aleli hanasaha tena dadaha. While he was wandering about, a wild forest fire began. This fire was caused by the friction of bamboos, which were being blown by the wind. In that fire, the entire forest near Kutakachala and the body of Lord Ṛṣabhadeva were burnt to ashes. Purport. Such a forest fire can burn the external bodies of animals, but Lord Ṛṣabhadeva was not burned, although he apparently seemed so. Lord Ṛṣabhadeva is the supersoul of all living entities within the forest, and his soul is never burned by fire. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Adhayoyam, the soul is never burned by fire. Due to Lord Ṛṣabhadeva's presence, all the animals in the forest were also liberated from material engagement. Text 9. Yasya kilanu charitam upakarnya konka venka kuta kanam rajarhanamo pasiksha kalav adharma utkrishyamane bhavitavyena vimohitasvadharma patam akuto vayaṃ apahaya kupata pakandam asamanjasam nija manishaya manda sampravarta yisyate. Shukadeva Goswami continued speaking to Maharaj Parikshit. My dear king, the king of Kanka, Venka and Kutaka, whose name was Arhat, heard of the activities of Ṛṣabhadeva and imitating Ṛṣabhadeva's principles, introduced a new system of religion. Taking advantage of Kali Yuga, the age of sinful activity, King Arhat, being bewildered, gave up the Vedic principles which are free from risk, and concocted a new system of religion opposed to the Vedas. That was the beginning of Jain Dharma. Many other so-called religions followed this atheistic system. When Lord Sri Krishna was present on this planet, this is the purport now. When Lord Sri Krishna was present on this planet, a person named Pondraka imitated the four-handed Narayan and declared himself the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He desired to compete with Krishna. Similarly, during the time of Lord Ṛṣabhadeva, the king of Kanka and Venka acted like a Paramahamsa and imitated Lord Ṛṣabhadeva. He introduced a system of religion and took advantage of the fallen condition of the people in this age of Kali. It is said in Vedic literatures that people in this age will be more inclined to accept anyone as the Supreme Lord and accept any religious system opposed to Vedic principles. The people in this age are described as Manda Sumanda, Matayaha. Generally, they have no spiritual culture, and therefore they are very fallen. Due to this, they will accept any religious system. Due to their misfortune, they forget the Vedic principles. Following non-Vedic principles in this age, they think themselves the Supreme Lord, and thus spread the cult of atheism all over the world. Yena havava kalo manuja pasyadadeva maya mohita svavidhi niyoga saucha charitra vihina deva halanani. apavatani nija nijechaya grihnana ashnana nachamana socha kesholunchanadini kalina dharma bahuleno pahatadiyo brahma brahmana yagya purusha loka vidushaka prayena bhavisyanti. People who are lowest among men and bewildered by the illusory energy of the Supreme Lord will give up the original Varnashram Dharma and its rules and regulations. They will abandon bathing 3 times daily and worshiping the Lord. Abandoning cleanliness and neglecting the Supreme Lord, they will accept nonsensical principles. Not regularly bathing or washing their mouths regularly, they will always remain unclean, and they will pluck out their hair. Following a concocted religion, they will flourish. During this age of Kali, people are more inclined to irreligious systems. Consequently, these people will naturally deride Vedic authority, the followers of Vedic authority, the Brahmanas, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the devotees. Purport. Presently, the hippies in the Western countries fit this description. They are irresponsible and unregulated. They do not bathe and they deride standard Vedic knowledge. They concoct new lifestyles and religions. There are many hippie groups at present moment, but they are all originating from King Arhat, who imitated the activities of Lord Ṛṣabhadeva, who is situated on the Paramahamsa stage. King Arhat did not care for the fact that although Lord Ṛṣabhadeva acted like a madman, his stool and urine were nonetheless aromatic, so much so that they nicely scented the countryside for miles around. The followers of King Arhat went under the name Jains, and they were later followed by many others, particularly by the hippies, who are more or less offshoots of Mayavadi philosophy because they think themselves the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such people do not respect the real followers of Vedic principles, the ideal Brahmanas, nor do they have respect for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Brahman. Due to the influence of this age of Kali, they are apt to concoct false religious systems. Text 11. Te chahyarva vaktanaya nija loka yatra yanta parampara yasvashtastamasyande svayam eva prapattisyanti. Low-class people, due to their gross ignorance, introduce a system of religion that deviates from the Vedic principles. Following their own mental concoctions, they automatically fall down into the darkest regions of existence. Purport. In this connection, one may see Bhagavad Gita, chapter 16, where there is a description of the downfall of the Asuras. Texts 16.16 and 16.23. Text 12. Ayam avataro rajaso papluta kaivalyo pasi kshanartaha. In this age of Kali, people are overwhelmed by the modes of passion and ignorance. Lord Ṛṣabhadeva incarnated himself to deliver them from the clutches of Maya. Purport. The symptoms of Kali Yuga are predicted in the 12th canto, 3rd chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. Vayaṃ kesha dharmanam. It is predicted how fallen souls will behave. They will keep their hair long and consider themselves very beautiful, or they will pluck out their hair as the Jains do. They will keep themselves unclean and will not wash their mouths. Jains refer to Lord Ṛṣabhadeva as their original preceptor. If such people are serious followers of Ṛṣabhadeva, they must also take instructions they must take his instructions. In the 5th chapter of this canto, Ṛṣabhadeva gave his 100 sons instructions whereby they could become free from the clutches of Maya. If one actually follows Ṛṣabhadeva, he will certainly be delivered from the clutches of Maya and return home back to Godhead. If one strictly follows the instructions of Ṛṣabhadeva given in the 5th chapter, he will certainly be liberated. Lord Ṛṣabhadeva incarnated specifically to deliver these fallen souls. Text 13. Tasyanu gunan ślokān gayanti aho bhuva. Tasyanu gunan ślokān gayanti aho bhuvas. Aho bhuva sapta samudravatya dvipeshu varshes vadi punyam etat gayanti yatratya jana murare karmani badran yavataravanti. Learned scholars chant about transcendental qualities of Lord Ṛṣabhadeva in this way. Oh, this earthly planet contains 7 seas and many islands and lands, of which Bharatavarsha is considered the most pious. People of Bharatavarsha are accustomed to glorifying the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his incarnations as Lord Ṛṣabhadeva and others. All these activities are very auspicious for the welfare of humanity. Purport. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Bharata bhumite haila manusya janma yara janma satarka kari kara para upkara. As stated in this verse, Bharatavarsha is a most pious land. The followers of Vedic literature understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his different incarnations, and they are privileged to glorify the Lord by following the directions of Vedic literature. After realizing the glories of human life, such people should take up the mission to spread the importance of human life throughout the world, the whole world. This is the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The word Adipunyam indicates that there are certainly many other pious men throughout the world, but the people of Bharatavarsha are even more pious. Therefore, they are fit to spread Krishna consciousness throughout the world for the benefit of all human society. Srila Madhvacharya also recognizes the land of Bharatavarsha, Visheshad Bharate Punyam. Throughout the world, there is no question of Bhagavad Bhakti or devotional service, but the people of Bharatavarsha can easily understand the devotional service of the Lord. Thus, every inhabitant of Bharatavarsha can perfect his life by discharging Bhagavad Bhakti and then preaching this cult throughout the world for the benefit of everyone. Text 14. Aho nu vamso yashasvadhata prayavrato yatra puman purana kritavatara purusha saadyas chachara dharmam yad akarma hetum. Oh, what shall I say of the dynasty of Priyavrata, which is pure and very much celebrated? In that dynasty, the Supreme Person, the original personality of Godhead, descended as an incarnation and executed religious principles that could free one from the results of fruitive activity. Purport. There are many dynasties in human society wherein the Supreme Lord descends as an incarnation. Lord Krishna appeared in the Yadu dynasty, and Lord Ramachandra appeared in the Ikshvaku or Raghu dynasty. Similarly, Lord Ṛṣabhadeva appeared in the dynasty of King Priyavrata. All these dynasties are very famous, and of them the dynasty of Priyavrata is most famous. Text 15. Konvasya kastam aparo nu gachen manoraten apyabhavasya yogi yo yoga maya srihayatyudasta yashatyayena krita prayatana. Who is that mystic yogi who can follow the examples of Lord Ṛṣabhadeva even with his mind? Lord Ṛṣabhadeva rejected all kinds of yogic perfection which other yogis hanker to attain. Who is that yogi who can compare to Lord Ṛṣabhadeva? Purport. Generally, yogis desire the yogic perfections of anima, labhema, mahima, prakamya, prapti, ishitva, vasitva, and kamavashyatya, kamavasayita. Lord Ṛṣabhadeva, however, never aspired for all these material things. Such siddhis or perfections are presented by the illusory energy of the Lord. The real purpose of the yoga system is to achieve the favor and shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But this purpose is covered by the illusory energy of Yogamaya. So-called yogis are therefore allured by the superficial material perfections of anima, labhema, prapti, and so forth. Consequently, ordinary yogis cannot compare to Lord Ṛṣabhadeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And thus ends our reading for today. We'll continue from text 16 on Wednesday. Before we conclude, were there any comments or questions or anything to share from the assembled devotees?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Voice audible?
Yes?
Prabhuji, like it was mentioned how the body of Lord Ṛṣabhadeva was covered by a Yog Maya and it was not material. So, but here the body is of Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we know like it is not material because Supreme Personality of Godhead always remains in his internal potency, his body. But can we say this for the devotees also? Like the pure devotees of the Lord also have their body as spiritual, because also like if a devotee is practicing like not a pure devotee, then his body is material. Like this is a bit. Uh, this is what I wanted to ask. Like.
Just want to look at something. Give me one moment.
Ji.
Okay, so I want to share this. In Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, in Antya Lila, chapter 11, the pastime of Srila Haridas Thakur leaving his body is described, and how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself held the deceased body of Haridas Thakur and danced with it and executed the funeral rites. So I think maybe the best place to get a real answer to your question would be here.
Okay, Prabhuji. Oh,
I'd like to go through Krishna. I just want to see who is yeah. So Haridas Thakur is considered, everybody in Gaur Lila, everyone in Mahaprabhu's Lila has their identity in Krishna Lila. So Haridas Thakur is considered as the incarnation of both Lord Brahma and Prahlad Maharaj. So
Ji Prabhuji.
keeping that in mind.
Because Prabhuji, like we also do the samadhi ceremony for devotees. So like I was wondering.
Yes, I just didn't want to. I didn't want to just give. I didn't want to just give what I think the answer is, because that's not valuable at all. So I wanted to see what the scripture actually had to say about it.
Ji Prabhuji.
I'm looking in the purports to see if Prabhupada said anything. I mean, he's clearly saying simply because the deceased body of Haridas Thakur was bathed in the sea, and now the sea has become a great pilgrimage site. I believe this is the Jagannath Puri Ocean, the ocean on the east coast, I guess, of India.
Ji Prabhuji. I have been there to that place, fortunately.
Let us feed Haridas Thakur, and this smeared remnants of Jagannath all over his body. Yeah, interesting. Srila Prabhupada didn't write any purport to this. Okay. So it doesn't say here, although of course the body of the pure devotee is not mundane, it's not the same quality as someone who's immersed in the material nature, because they have engaged all of their senses in the Lord's service in a very wonderful way, and they've used their body completely, mind, body, and words, right? Tridandi sannyas, mind, body, words. They've used themselves fully for the Lord's service as an instrument of the Lord's service. So obviously their body is not mundane in that sense. Their body is completely a tool or an instrument of the Lord's service. It's the paraphernalia of the Lord. So in that way, it's not mundane, of course.
Ji Prabhuji.
But I don't think, based on what we saw there, I also don't think it would be appropriate to say it's the same as we were reading about Lord Ṛṣabhadeva.
Yeah.
The, yeah,
I,
the Lord's body is never touched by the material nature, but I think the devotee's body, I don't know what else to say except for it's not, I wouldn't want to say it's not the same thing as the Lord's body, although of course it's not mundane. I think I could only say that much.
Deeply, there is some confusion here, like because I also heard like Yamunacharya prays like wherever I am, may I with my body with in a body of a demigod or in a body of a human, may I bow to you in my spiritual because I am not this body, something like this. So I was confused also.
Yeah, well, the
Uh,
soul, that's the thing. The soul, of course, the soul, the Atma is not the body, and the soul is, right? We're told by Srila Prabhupada that the soul is qualitatively the same as the Lord. It's right? It's a spark of the Lord, but it's not quantitatively the same. So of course the soul is the same as the Lord. It's a part of Krishna. It's his Tatastha Shakti. But that external energy, that Maya Shakti or the Bahiranga Shakti, it's external. It's the Lord's energy, but it's his external energy. So the bodies, even of great devotees, it's made of the material energy. For the pastimes of serving the Lord and bringing others to Krishna consciousness. And it's, unless they're an avatar like Lord Ṛṣabhadeva, we can't say that their body is completely aloof from this material world. And they say that themselves, right? If we listen to the words of the Acharyas, if we listen to the songs of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, of course we're thinking he's writing those things for our benefit, although he wasn't really suffering them himself. He's writing them for our benefit. But he's saying, I'm immersed in this worldly condition. Please deliver me, like that.
Deeply.
And
Which one small question I can ask more like
okay.
it was also written like how people in Kali Yuga will not follow varnashram, will not bath 3 times daily or wash their mouth and other things. But I find even right now, personally, I don't bath 3 times 3 times daily or many things maybe I don't do. So like, and also we see like nobody follows varnashram in one sense, even in India, Bharatvarsh. So like that was so how to understand that like
Well, that was one of Srila Prabhupada's efforts, was he was trying to reinstate the proper varnashram, because in that way society would be structured in a way that was not oppressive to people. The whole ideal of varnashram dharma in its proper form is that naturally, by guna and karma, people are actually inclined to the works of one of the 3 varnas. Either they have the nature of some Brahminical priestly nature, and they should have that position in order to not only express that inner quality of themselves, but also help to fill the role in society that needs that kind of spiritual leadership. And some individuals naturally, because of their guna and karma, are more politically oriented, leader oriented, warrior oriented. So they should have that position in society, again, not only to express their own inner quality, but because society needs that position as the Kshatriya. Same thing with the Vaishya and Sudra. Some people by their nature, they're just inherently good mercantile people, managing business affairs, selling and trading. They just have that nature. And again, in order for their own satisfaction to express the qualities that they innately have, they should be given the resources to do that effectively, and for the good of the society who needs to share resources and share materials, they need to be given that. And then the same for the Sudra. Some people are just naturally, they have this laborer, they're more inclined to this laborer kind of work, kind of position. And they should be given the freedom to express that in a way that's satisfactory to themselves and useful to the society at large. And then the relationship between them. Naturally, the workers, the laborers, they don't have the quality to know the wider perspective of why they're laboring or where the fruits of their labor are going. So they need the Vaishyas to manage them in that way. Similarly, the Vaishyas, they don't have quite the intelligence to recognize how the different industries fit together to share resources appropriately to allow the society to function well. So they need some leadership, or they need some protection from the from the Kshatriyas, because some people don't like to follow and they like to disturb. So some law enforcement needs to be there, or some political guidance in a sattvic way. And then similarly, those Kshatriyas, they don't have really the spiritual capacity to see how the functioning of society can be properly dovetailed with cultivating love of God, cultivating self-realization and God realization. So they need to follow the instruction of the Brahman class. They need that. So this hierarchy is there, but it doesn't mean that there is superiority, that there is some egoic superiority that is transmitted, because that only leads to oppression and
Caste system.
resentment, caste system, of course, caste system. But I mean the emotions among the society, people who act superior to others, there will be some resentment from those who are being oppressed. And the whole premise of self-realization, cultivating self-realization and God realization, will be lost. And then the caste system, as you said correctly, will result, and it will be some perverted thing. But Prabhupada was trying to advocate that the proper varnashram be instilled, because it's simply like it's logical and systematic, and it's trying to allow everyone to express what their inherent nature is in an organized and productive, spiritually productive way. And even in the Western world, they had a similar idea. Plato had a similar idea in his Republic. If you read the book Republic, I don't think in the Republic they made a distinction between Sudras and Vaishyas. They didn't make a distinction, but
there were only 3 classes.
only 3 classes.
There were only 3.
But it corresponded to the Brahmins at the top, the philosopher king, he called it, the philosopher king. And then the warrior class was beneath the philosopher king. So philosopher king means Brahmana, the warrior means Kshatriya, and then the laborer was the 3rd class. So although it's a little different, no doubt, but the same systematic necessity of how to structure people based on their inherent nature was seen, even on the other side of the world. So that shows that it's not just some arbitrary concoction. It's a system that arises from the necessity of seeing what kinds of people emerge in a society and how to rationally organize them to be spiritually productive. So Prabhupada was trying to do that. And so your question was ultimately, what to do that no one is following it. I mean, it's not our job to try to reshape society. That's not, that will take us in the wrong direction. Our goal is to become Krishna conscious and utilize whatever gifts we have in service to Krishna under the guidance of the Vaishnavas. But, Srila Prabhupada wanted that, and to the extent that the Varnashram Dharma can help our own spiritual advancement, we should embrace it to that extent. I mean, I guess that's all I can say.
Ji Prabhuji. Like so Varnashram is for the benefit of the whole society, and in itself it might not be powerful enough to make us a pure devotee. Can we say it like this?
Of course, ultimately we have to accept the Vaishnava. We have to surrender to the Vaishnava and be led in that way. But Varnashram Dharma was meant, like the Brahmins, essentially, right? I mean, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur did so much work to tell, the difference between the Vaishnava and the Brahmin. As the Brahmins became more Mayavad influenced, maybe, and more influenced by the Purusharthas, right, the four goals of life, and the Vaishnavas aren't concerned with those four goals of life, the Artha, Kama, Moksha, and Dharma. Rather, Krishna Prem is beyond those four aims of life. So in that way, the Vaishnava is beyond the Brahmin. But ideally, Brahmin means Vaishnav. In the most ideal sense, Brahmin means Vaishnav. So that means that the Vaishnavas are the leaders. They have the pure vision of serving Krishna, and they have the capacity to help others utilize their nature for that same goal. So in the highest vision, Varnashram Dharma means, everyone is surrendered to the Vaishnava and is listening to how to use their innate gifts and innate tendencies to serve the Lord. So that's what Prabhupada was going for. So if we can see it like that, we can see it within the principles of we're associating with the Vaishnava, we're trying to gain the guidance of the Vaishnava, and we're trying to serve the Vaishnava with all of our effort. Then in that way, we can still be organized. The Vaishnava will tell us, okay, maybe you're a good farmer. We need some sustainable agriculture. Oh, you're a good scientist. Okay, so you help them. You help them see how to see that all of nature is pointing to spirit, that there is life and cognition underlying all life, and that ultimately this human form of life gives us the possibility to ask, who am I, and what is the purpose of life? That life comes from life, matter comes from life, which means it's consciousness. Matter is a product of consciousness, our consciousness of reality. Okay, so you help them like that. So in this way, we can still be, Varnashram, the ideal Varnashram Dharma, we can still participate in that by listening to the Vaishnav, serving the Vaishnav, and utilizing our innate tendencies in service. So in that way, we're still participating in the ideal Varnashram Dharma, which is helping Krishna consciousness,
Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for clarifying all my doubts.
Thank you, Shivamji, for your thoughtful questions, helping me to try to reflect on whatever I've heard from my Gurudev and the readings that he suggested I read, and trying to also preach to myself. You're giving me opportunity to preach to myself. So Jai Shivam Bhakti Shivam Ki Jai. So we'll close here. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Shri Pad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, Srila Acharya Dev Ki Jai. Jai Sri Rupa Nuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the worldwide devotees. Salman Bhakti Veda Vrinda Ki Jai. Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai, Mayapur Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Ju Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Yamuna Mai Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Giri Govardhan, Gupta Govardhan Dham ki jai, Sham Kund, Radha Kund ki jai, Tulsi Devi, Bhakti Devi, Vrinda Devi ki jai. Jai Harinam Sankirtan Yagya ki jai, Scientific Sankirtan Yagya ki jai, Princeton Bhakti Vedanta Institute ki jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat ki jai, Nitai Gora Premanandi, Hari Hari Bo.
जय
Dhanyavad.
कृष्णा केशव प्रभु जी की जय। निरंतर
Jai Gurudev.